think I might have the brightness up a little too high. I don't know. Never mind, it's halfway. Oh, I tell you, I really do sometimes wonder about my sleep schedule and just how bizarre it can be. Like I took a nap somewhere between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock, and that had me thinking, okay, maybe I'm not as tired as I normally would be. Uh, at this point, like in the latter part of the day, I start thinking maybe I'm not as sleepy as I might be led to believe, or otherwise not as tired as I would be after as a result of the nap. And then after I woke up, I still felt it was like around 12 o'clock. I still felt kind of tired. So I went to sleep again, and then that was how we got the. This was I set my alarm to wake me up at 4, just to make sure that I'd be able to do this while everybody else was knocked out, so I could have no like little to no chance of any interruption. But yeah, this is the second weekend in recent weeks where I've taken a shift on Saturday, which is not something I really like doing because it's, I mean, it's Saturday. Like it's the one day of the whole week where I told them I'm never available, don't contact me, etc., etc. And what can I say? Because they've been cutting hours and barely wanting to have me come in, I picked it up today because I'm trying to recuperate my losses pretty much. So that's my luck. And I haven't seen Dio in so long. I don't even know if that's the same one from before, some new doppelganger who's coming here to masquerade as him. That might be some other character. You never can tell. People just when they make these accounts, they take a picture, some pre-established name, and they go over there. She's like, I remember there was a guy who had Kid Buu as his avatar, and I haven't seen him in over a year. And then one time he came around, I think it was maybe May. Like they do that where they take these long gaps and you don't know who's who. So maybe that's he's claiming he's the same one, but the writing style is a little bit different. Um, this might be some new character. Might be somebody masquerading as him to mistake me into trusting them so I can lower my guard and they can write something crazy. Yeah, you never know what to believe anymore. But no, I'm not excited for working today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's not as bad. It's only a 4-hour shift, but the one I picked up is always the one that's like the most despised, where it's that midnight one, that late afternoon to midnight. And I don't think it'll be as bad as it's been in the last month or so, because now what they've started doing is they bring more people per day to work more hours to lessen the amount they have to pay each person individually. And like I said, the stupidest thing to me about this job, like the dumbest thing, is that because they're doing this wage increase, they want to, cut hours, right? They call themselves trying to save some money, but then they're also still hiring more people. Um, it's really dumb. Like it's really stupid. I'd love for somebody to be able to explain the economics of that to me. Like I don't want to pay the people. We already have anything, but I'm going to add more people to that group. I saw somebody come in for an interview. Yeah, on Thursday last time I was there, and I felt like saying, "You really want to get tangled up in this mess, this web of lies of this damn job where they sit there and pretend to like you, and then the whole time from when you start working there, they've got the damn knife ready to stick it in your back. You want to get tangled in this mess." No, I can't even. I just can't wrap my mind around the logic of that. Like hiring people to me just seems pointless if you're not gonna actually, pay them anything, use them that much. And they just keep hiring more and more new people. Like I've seen some people there who have come and left after I started. I mentioned how I had this one coworker that made some like comments about my appearance, and then she had hugged me at another point. That person left. So they were there for probably like 3 weeks, a month, and then just gone. They seem to go through a lot of people. And I have a lot of coworkers that talk about quitting is what I find interesting. Like I've had my feelings of wanting to do that from just actively seeking another job. Um, and I mentioned before, looking for work is one of the most difficult things in the modern era, especially when you already have a job, because many times one will try to screw you out of the other one. Bringing more people only makes sense if it's heavy thing lifting job like a warehouse. Oh no, that's why I said it doesn't make any sense because they already have people who satisfy each particular um, criteria that's there. Like they have people that do stuff in the front. They have people that make food. They have people like myself do other tasks. So there's really no reason to still hire more people there other than just stupidity. Like it's really dumb. It doesn't make any sense if you're looking at this from any economic standpoint. It doesn't make sense to hire more people when you're cutting hours in an attempt to save money. They made me go from a part-time employee with 20 something to 30 hours a week to a part-time employee with 6 to 15 hours a week. Like it's stupid. Again, if they were smart, they would take the people they already have and use them more often if they actually wanted to, save money. I mean, I can't understand the benefit of we're going to have people we don't want to give full-time shifts to and then add even more people and I mentioned before that's always been the biggest reason why anytime somebody says just get a job, it's like the most obnoxious thing in the world because many times when you're applying for things, you will tell a job up front, I want 40 hours a week. Then if you get hired, you look on your schedule, you'll be lucky if you can even get half of that. I'm serious. I can't remember every employer I go to. I always tell them, full time employee, full time. I'm looking for full time, full time, full time, full time, and they just don't care. They still will just give you a few hours a week, usually once to three times at most. It's dumb. But yeah, me and this guy on Monday I picked up his shift and I remember when I called in to make sure I could take it because there's like a formal process that you normally go through. This person, I don't think they were a manager, but they answered the phone for the place and they were like, "Yeah, you're good to come in and fill in for. Make sure you actually show up though." And I thought it was like such a bizarre level of pessimism to have about like why the hell would I inquire about filling in for somebody else and then not actually come? Like what sense would that make? It's really bad. It's very bad. Because I said before, the main purpose of a job is to give you the ability to take care of yourself. If you can't take care of yourself with the amount of hours they're giving you, you might as well just say the hell with it. And trust me, if I can get something better, I will. Uh, I just it to not be able to take care of yourself as a full-time employee of somewhere, and when I say full-time employee, I'm saying that, like, they have the option to use you pretty much whenever they want, but they only do it 3 times a week, 2 times a week, that stuff like that's stupid to me. Because after this week, they only have me for 1 day, next week. Because on Sunday, they don't they're everybody's off, but you see where that's, like, crazy, right? That I'm available to them 6 days out of 7 days of the week, and because there's 1 day where everybody's off, they just won't give me another day. They're like, "Oh, well, you'll just come to work once this whole week." It's just weird, man. That's ridiculous. Yeah, 1 day for the whole week. I'm looking at it right now. Between Tuesday so this Tuesday, March 26th, to Tuesday, April 2nd, I only work 1 day. Now, you know damn well nobody can live off of that. Nobody can just it's dumb, man. It's dumb, it's crazy. Um, and the only thing I can hope for is that in between next Tuesday and the Tuesday after that, somebody says, "Hey, you want to fill in for me?" Because now I'm starting to end up having that reputation there, where like people will just randomly contact me asking if I can fill in for them. No, they don't care, man. If they had their way, I'd work once every like 2 or 3 weeks. They would make me a part time employee. Because like I said, it doesn't matter to them if you can't survive or whatever. The jobs don't care. Ugh. These jobs don't give one iota of concern about you. You're nothing to them. You're just a waste of space. It's hard to be positive about society's future. Yeah, especially when you see the way that people act. I mean, they don't really sit back and actually seem that concerned. No, it's sad that people are like this, honestly. And, they'll call you negative when you talk about this stuff, but it's the truth. Like I could say I was very happy when I was first hired, because it was after 11 months of just having nothing. But like I said, they found me amusing for a while, but the one thing they love more than a good employee is to see an employee fall, die trying. No, Dio, explain what that principle is. Enlighten me. I want the full description, definition, and everything. Oh man, let me stretch this out a little bit. I remember this one person. They're like, "I can't wait to watch your next movie length stream." I said, "Man, it's basically the theory that people get promoted until there's a job where they're incompetent." Yeah, whoever's in charge of hiring is absolutely incompetent over there. I mean, I'll never understand the logic of we're trying to save money by using the people that are already here less and less, but we're going to keep hiring more people on top of the ones we already have who we are trying to like also squeeze out or not use as often. It's really dumb. Doesn't make one shred of sense. The only thing I'm happy about is the shift doesn't start until like way later in the day. So sleep in because the one they gave me, what day was that on? Yeah, Thursday. I started at 11, and you would think, oh, okay, that's almost that's like close to the beginning of the afternoon. I said, yeah, but 2 hours away, so well, an hour away, so I tend to have to leave at like 9 o'clock to avoid traffic. So it was it was pretty grueling. I'll put it that way. Because my sleep schedule is not the same as it was before. They did research with 3,000 people employed. I think it was like over 70% were applied. That's kind of how Dio was too, because it's like back when he first started posting comments, you would see him off and he'd write a lot of different stuff. And then after he had been there for so long, writing all these different comments, he started like disappearing. He'd take these long hiatuses. He couldn't be bothered to even look at his computer. So he also has been hit by the Peter principle, where now his competence and his ability to write things has completely diminished. Like we don't even recognize him anymore. So I said when he first showed up, I thought it was a fake. I thought it was a hoax. I really have like abandoned comics for the most part. There's always some series I get a little interested in. Um, but the way I've always understood them is that they're supposed to come out once a month, right? I saw one comic, it's a mini series. The first chapter, excuse me, the first issue came out I think in November, either October or November, and then issue 2 didn't come out until, like, a week or like, within the last week. So it was, like, 4 or 5 months before you got the 2nd issue, which is absolutely insane. Like, I've never seen that before where they can just take almost half a year to put out 1 issue. Remember, these are supposed to be monthly books, and they just put stuff out whenever they feel like it, I guess. Oh, man. I was like, it would be the one comic I actually want to read that's, contemporary or currently coming out that takes 5 or 6 months to actually, have a new issue come out. That's my kind of luck. I'm serious. When I looked on there and I said, "Wow, issue 1 came out all the way back in October, November, and we're just now getting issue 2?" Serious, I couldn't believe it. Man, I tell you, I just also, I mean, I don't even want to mention him because there's a lot of people that have been milking this man's passing for every damn cent they. Like what drives me crazy is like, imagine if you made a series and for basically 20 something years, people don't even see you. You do no interviews. You're like a phantom. You just don't come out for almost anything. And then all of a sudden you pass away. I'd say pretty abruptly out of nowhere. And then people feel like they can make several videos about you after the fact. I saw one person, they made 5, 6 videos with his name in the title. I almost want to make a video about their exploitation of him, like a death in the limelight. That's literally what he's having, where it's just here's this person that no one was talking about, or when they did, it was like in passing, and then they die, and just oh, he look at what might have happened to him, and what's gonna happen to Dragon Ball now that he's deceased, and it's just like oh god, it's awful. Mm. A death in the limelight. Mm. So no, I don't think you'll see me making much public commentary on him. That's the most depressing thing about these celebrity passings, where it's just no one talks about you almost ever, and then if you die, suddenly it's like raining interest in you. It's weird. People just have some really screwed up ways. Oh man. I'm telling you, I just can't understand the logic of that job. I don't I don't know, it just seems like everything is so backwards. It's like friends that hit you up when they're broke. I mean, I don't have any friends like that. I I can't think of any instance where I guess been down on my luck monetarily and gone around to people that I liked or know and be like, hey, can you lend me this? Can you give me some of that? I've never done that. I wish somebody would try to do that where they come to you and they're like, please give us money. They're gonna see a not too positive result for me. We're getting to the point where people are so greedy that they don't even have like an actual thing to offer you for like giving them something. Like I've seen Patreons where they'll charge you to get in their access to their stupid Discord server. And people really pay for it too. And like my thing is always, what's the point of being in someone's server if the person isn't even going to speak to you? Like what purpose is there to that? Ooh, I'm gonna sit among other people that like your stuff. It's like, well, hell, I can do that in your comment section. It's just weird, man. If you pay $5.99 a month, you can be in my Discord. Oh, are you actually gonna speak to me? Nope. Okay, whatever. I guess I'll pay for this excellent service that is free for everyone else but you and like two other people that try to find a way to charge someone for something they really shouldn't have to pay for. I've got an ad. I've seen that one. I've seen that too. Yeah, it's everywhere. Like I've seen multiple creators who are now charging people just to join their stupid servers. And that's how you know that they really have nothing to offer because you would never see a person who's actually making content that people really want to watch. Be like, oh yeah, here, pay me so you can be in my cesspool, my little online group of sycophants that all sit inside this area and praise me nonstop. Oh, that was my phone going off for a second. These phones vibrate so damn loud. You can hear it from across the room. I'm serious. Like I've had some instances where I'll hear a phone go, eh. I'm like, oh, somebody they shouldn't be because I don't know anyone to be up at 5 in the morning. But yeah, I've had and I'm always interested in just the noises you'll hear and think it's you or something relating to you, and then someone else or whatever. Like I've seen people where they'll make YouTube videos, and because they won't close Discord, you'll just hear the notification going off, and I'll think, oh damn, did somebody contact me on there? Because people just can't close these apps. They say stuff like, "Everyone in my Patreon is a winner. Don't you want to be a winner?" I saw one Patreon where one of the rewards by this woman was like having her undying gratitude. I just thought that was funny. Like she's going to be on her deathbed in like 50, 60 years, but she'll remember when Butt Muncher 45 sent her $5.99 a month. He has her eternal gratitude. No, they're always looking for ways to get somebody to pay for something. And it'll be the most random people too. This one guy was talking about the increased movie prices. I said, I mean, hell, this year there's really nothing to see other than because I don't think I'm going to see Deadpool and Wolverine. So the only two things that I can think of off the top of my head that I'll probably go to the theater for are Ghostbusters 4, which is already getting some bad reviews, and Beetlejuice 2. Other than that, I don't really this is going to be a really just bland year for movies. Like there's very little I'm actually excited to see or even paying any attention to. I didn't see Madam Web. Of course, then again, nobody did. um, most likely not going to see Craven. Most likely not going to see Venom 3. So we're gonna have a. I'm gonna be like a ghost at the theater. You very rarely will see me. They have to put out something really different for me to be like, "Oh, man, I need to go see this. I need to go watch it." I can't wait to watch, uh, this movie that everybody is telling me is gonna be trash. You know, these people love playing games. They put up so many things for you to try to, like, pick up when you work there, and then they don't even approve it. Yeah, I'm not seeing that. Like, literally no interest. I know it's coming, I don't care. No, I'm very fascinated in, Beetlejuice 2 because that's another movie that they made sound like we were never gonna get ever, and then here it is. I think, I think Burton is directing, let me make sure. They didn't just hand it off to somebody else. Mm, let's see here. Yep, Garfield. Still not interested, nope. The only 2 movies this year where I'm, like, 90% sure I'll go and see them in theaters is, Ghostbusters and Beetlejuice 2. That's it. What's funny is that because Madam Web was such a giant, colossal flip-flopping failure, Sony is gonna re-release all the Spider-Man movies in theaters starting next month. So I guess maybe I'll see the Raimi trilogy in theaters again. Mm, it'll be a nice trip down memory lane. That'll be like the one. You know, there's something really sad that you have a higher chance of seeing people go to watch movies that came out anywhere from 15 to 20 years ago over the stuff that you're putting out now. Like there's something about that is so sad and so pathetic on the part of like how it just shows you that these current films are like devoid of anything. They're just I'm not even kidding. Like I want one of these days I want to torture myself and try to sit through Venom 2, Morbius and then Madam Web and just like try to figure out what's even the point? Like what in here is memorable or worth making this something to watch? Like I'm serious. I was thinking of Morbius yesterday. I said I saw that when it came out or like sometime after it came out, and I really can't remember much about the movie at all. Um, and then it's like with Venom, it there's slightly more stuff I remember, but it's such a bizarre series, 4 films, and you could throw away like pretty much all of them and really miss nothing. Like millions of dollars go into this soulless, vapid trash, and just it's sad, man. Because they asked the lady who directed Madam Web, "Why did you set the film in 2003?" And she was like, "Oh, it's because I like that year. It's nostalgic for me." It's like, yeah, so it has nothing to do with an actual good story, or it ties into the rest of this stuff. It's just random things happening. Yeah, it was such a good time that it bombed twice. I guess I'll give it credit. I was more interested in seeing that than what's that stupid Captain? Was in the Marvels or whatever. Like, I'm telling you, man, I still can't believe I actually lived to see an MCU film just bomb, like not underperform, right? Like Ant-Man 3, maybe not do as well as they would have liked, but still make a profit, like just straight up bomb. I still can't believe it. I'm like, that really happened. They really made a superhero film in the most successful superhero franchise ever. 15 plus years of just at least financial success at every turn. And they put one out with a pretty lousy cast of no names, some pretty lousy characters, and it flopped. It flopped, and it was. I'm telling you, some of these Marvel fans, I feel like they have. You would almost think that, and I'm not saying this like as a true thing. I know it's not true, but like you would almost think they get paid by Disney to just be the most obtuse, over defensive. I mean, there's no way these people are not a bunch of children because it's like this is the first time one of them ever flopped out of all the from Iron Man in 2008 all the way up until now. It's the first time an MCU movie ever just failed financially. And their excuse was, "Oh, the actors weren't around to promote it." Like, dude, you know damn well that if you wanted to see a movie, you would just watch a trailer. You would hear about it online. Like, I've never heard of like actual human beings not watching a movie because, oh, I didn't see any interviews with the actors. I've never heard of that once ever. There's plenty of people who've never seen any interviews with actors because the main draw is the film itself. That's why I said they were coping hard, man. Like they were making excuses I've never even seen before because of just how dumb it was. I'm not kidding. That's really sad. Like we're human beings. We'll see some major corporation just fail because of its own stupidity. Different factors we can go into. And instead of like actually talking about it, like, yeah, why did this movie underperform? Why did it do so poorly in a series that's known for doing so well? Uh, they just sat there and put their hands under their butts and made excuses for them, and it's really sad. I remember Captain America, the first Avenger, the Marvels, the first flop. How did the first Captain Marvel go from making $1 billion to the sequel not even making 300 million? Like what happened? Why were the returns cut in more than half? It's sad watching studios just burn money like this. I'm telling you, man, they did everything they could to try and save that dumpster fire. They changed the title. First it was Captain Marvel 2, then they switched it to the Marvels, tried to like get people to forget that Brie Larson was in it. They did everything and it just wouldn't work. It just couldn't work. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see any more of those characters for a long time. So I said ever since I'd say for the last like 3 years, Marvel's just been in free fall. Like they just are throwing stuff at the damn table, trying to see what sticks. There was one movie I went to see 2 years ago, and I went in the theater, and like it was the first time I'd ever seen a theater empty, like just nobody there but me. And then as the film like started, there was about maybe 5 or 6 more people that came. And when they announced the sequel to it, I was like, how in the world did this make so much money if there were so few people in the because I went kind of like I don't want to say early, like 10, 11, 12 o'clock. Um, so I figured maybe that had part of it, but I'm serious that I'd never been in a theater with so few people until that point. I was like, how is this getting the sequel? How did this make a profit? I didn't even see anybody in there. I guess somebody was watching it somewhere else. No, they wouldn't even waste their time going in that theater. I don't know why you would even bring those characters up considering how bad Super is. Like they should be the last ones invoked when you're talking about people not wanting to watch or read something. That's hilarious. I had to keep reminding myself this movie came out last year. Not the Marvels, this other movie. Well, that did come out last year as well, but this movie came out last year, and I see it in the iTunes store for $5, which is really interesting. I'm still laughing at the person that was trying to like dissuade Sony from making another Ghostbusters movie. They're like, "Oh no, you already Afterlife was the perfect ending." I'm like, "Yeah, the ending where they introduce a bunch of new characters." Dude, anytime you see a movie that is like marketed as the last one, which Afterlife wasn't, it was just a sequel to you know Ghostbusters. But it's like anytime you see a movie that gets marketed as the last film in a series, and it has new characters, 9 times out of 10, it's so they can make more. Like, you look at Ant-Man 3, we don't know if there's gonna be a 4th one. Very likely that there might not be because of its, like, underperforming. But you look at Ant-Man 3, and it's very obvious that they were trying to set up his daughter to take over for him with the, Young Avengers and whatnot. I really couldn't stand his daughter. I found her very not in the first 2, but the recasted older version of the 3rd one. I thought she was really annoying. "What do you do?" It's You look at Indiana Jones 5, it's like that Helena character is very obviously there in ca in the event that the 5th film had been very successful and they couldn't get Harrison Ford to, you know, will himself out of retirement to keep playing this character. It's like, yeah, they wanted her to take over if the movie actually turned a profit and she was all ready for it. I'm still laughing at the title that somebody get. They're like, "Oh, it's not the dial of destiny, the dial of dialysis." Hell, I remember when Wolverine came out. Uh, Not Wolverine, Logan, right? Final appearance of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and then guess what? They were trying to make a spinoff about his daughter before the Sony merger, and all the little like shenanigans with copyright and studios and whatnot. I would have actually liked to have seen that. Um, let's not forget Venom started as a spinoff from Spider-Man 3. So that's why I said every time it looks like something is the end, it's not. I remember before the Batman film series went like in the tank with Batman and Robin, they were talking about a Robin spinoff. They were talking about um, Batman Unchained, right? The big film with Batman versus Scarecrow and Harley Quinn, who was supposed to be like Joker's daughter, back for revenge for her dad's passing, and the hallucinations of all the past villains that was going to cost the studio like God knows how much money. Mm. Yeah, they always try to keep these things going forever and ever. It's really kind of interesting too that just to see how many times a studio will think, "Oh yeah, we got a money maker here," and then it doesn't go the way they want. Like I've actually found the history of film franchises sometimes more interesting than the film series themselves. Like I always marvel at how with Batman Returns, for example, um, Catwoman's survival was like something the studio demanded was made abundantly clear so that they could try and make a spinoff with her. And it's like in retrospect, it's crazy that they had these people go out of their way to film a scene to show that she was alive or had survived the events of the film, and then the spinoff just never happened. Like literally nothing came out of that. Not 2 years later, 5 years later, just nothing. Just she might as well have passed if that was the intention of doing that scene because they didn't do anything with it. And Catwoman is so frustrating. Like that Burton version of Catwoman is so frustrating because it's like as much as I would like a spinoff, I don't even know what it could be about. Like both of the ideas that were floated sound like whatever to me. Like, oh, black and white movie or uh her versus three superheroes. Like, okay. That's one of the reasons I was so excited for the Batman 89 comic, just seeing her again in something, even if it was just a comic, it was nice to get, a return of that character. Because really, my biggest problem with Flash is like they leave so much vague and ambiguous about the life of the Keaton Batman after Returns, to where you really don't even know what happened to him or his world or just anything, and that's one of the problems I have with these like films that bring back some like older version of a character we haven't seen in the 10 years or even longer. They do a really poor job of like filling in the gaps. And because these studios don't really care one way or the other, we tend to not really get information on what that period was like. Um, so you saw the same thing with No Way Home, where it's like you bring back the Maguire and Garfield versions of Spider-Man, but we really don't find out much about them in the film itself. Like we're supposed to believe that after Spider-Man 3, the Maguire version was just like, all right, well, no more supervillains. Doc Connors never turned into a lizard. I mean, it's just weird, man. And I know that one person said they do that. I know that in Maguire's case, it was done on purpose because he didn't want to like if they do apparently make a fourth Raimi film, pigeonhole Raimi and having to like use certain stuff, like just he kept it vague on purpose. But the Garfield one really makes no sense because I just can't imagine them reviving the TASM series. So it's like if you were going to address anything with him, that film would have been the most logical place to do it from. Mm. I see that Dio left after he wanted to come in here talking about anime characters. When his joke fell on deaf ears, he left the whole stream. He said, "Forget it." He said, "When I write something and you don't laugh, we're gonna have a problem." Now I remember when the first time I found out about Batman Unchained, I was like, it's crazy how for as cool as they try to make this sound, I just can't see it being anything but terrible. Uh, like there's certain stuff you hear about a movie and you think, "Oh, that sounds cool," but then you remember who was going to direct it, and like if Batman and Robin didn't fail critically, right, then it's very likely they would have just kept up the goofiness, just kept it going and going. Because usually you end up with the types of films that you do because there's like a response to one of them that is not really, people aren't as receptive of or are receptive to. So, like the success of Batman 89 led to Burton having more freedoms to do whatever he wanted with Returns. Um, and then, like the really dark grittiness of Returns led to the family friendly, toned down nature of Forever. And then, the success of Forever, financial success anyway, led to the complete goofiness, ridiculousness of Batman and Robin. So it's just it goes to it just shows you how like one will lead to the next, where if there's a positive response to it, they want more of it that way. If it's a bad response, they want something completely different. And that's why I say I can't imagine that if Unchained had been made and the response to, Batman and Robin wasn't as bad or whatever, I, it just doesn't seem like to me it would have been good. But I'm very serious. I'm really sick of all these reboots and restarts and do overs and begin again. They're getting real redundant. Like to me, the funniest part is just how with Forever, I turn it on. I'm like, oh yeah, new Batman. They're gonna try and pretend it's the same universe too. Imagine if Marvel did that, where after RDJ wanted out of his contract, they just had a new person playing Iron Man. Like I'm just imagining the backlash. Not my Tony. It's interesting how like back in the day, studios really didn't care about recasts. Like they would just Oh, so this person doesn't play his character anymore? Okay, we'll get somebody else. Like a James Bond. Once Sean Connery was done, they switched over, and it's been a revolving door ever since. And then my favorite part is still the '89 film series because it's like you're supposed to really see Forever as Batman 3, but then not only is Batman played by a different actor, but so is Two Face. And they don't even like make any allusions to the first film at all. Like you really would think it was alternate universe, which is how it's being treated by much of these different like materials that we've had since then. Like I know the Flash ignores Forever. Batman '89 obviously ignores Forever, even having its own version of Robin, who's not Grayson. So it's fascinating how that was like seen as the sequel right by the studio or whatnot, and like now these other later materials are saying no, forget that that movie didn't happen in our continuation of this. And when '89 got the sequel comic Echoes, I was really surprised because I thought '89 was just like gonna wrap up whatever loose threads from the two Burton films were there, but it set up some more stuff. And I hope that I live to see its conclusion. I don't know if that'll be possible. They seem to take 4 months to put out one issue. When I saw the villains were Scarecrow and Harley, I was like, oh yeah, definitely not tapping into Batman Unchained here. But I find the premise really interesting, where it's been 2 years since um, the original '89 comic, and Bruce Wayne has disappeared, and you know he doesn't talk to anybody anymore. So I guess this is their version of Batman 4. Every 6 issues is like a movie and like a film in and of itself. They drive me crazy with just the like I'd be so much more excited for this series if they could just put it out monthly, which is what they told us they would do, and then of course they didn't. Because like I said, when you have to wait 3 months for one issue, it's stupid. I'm noticing more and more of these like comic creators are taking longer to write stuff and actually put it out. It's getting on my nerves because I used to always say the one thing I like about comics is that because they don't take as many materials as like a movie, a show, we should be able to get more of it in a shorter amount of time. Like once a month, whatever. But no, they're taking their sweet time now. They go sometimes several months with no issue, with no continuation. Just sit there, waiting and waiting. And then they said that Superman '78 is in the same continuity, which I haven't read yet, as '89. To me, that's really funny that you get two films for both Superman and Batman that are both like really connected to each other, and then there's like a third one that deviates greatly to where one of them doesn't even have the same actor playing the character. Then there's a fourth one that's just despised, and then you get these comics 20, 30 years after the last movie that are like forget everything after the first two films. I don't know. There's something so fascinating to me about the idea of continuing a film series based off a comic in the form of a comic. Like, I really would like to see, more of these, like, dead film series do that, where they take some idea for a movie that they had and put it into a comic. 'Cause, I mean, why not? It's cheaper, it's really solving a lot of questions about, like, "Hey, what if this was made? Well, how would it have looked? How would it have what would the story have been?" And I really don't think there's anything wrong with just showing people, "Here's my idea of how this would have continued." Even if it's not like, it's gonna obviously have less eyes on it because it's written instead of, in film or on TV, whatever. But I don't care if, like, I really was curious about how do you do a sequel to Returns that has, like, the same dark atmosphere, or, doesn't have to, like, tone itself down. And, in reading 89, I mostly felt satisfied. Um, it's one of those things where there's some stuff I probably would have, like, they have a really inconsistent characterization of the Keaton Batman who is a killer, who's like, I'm not a killer like you." It's like, "No, you actually have killed people, and, as recently as within the past year, because the comic takes place a year after Return, so, let's not kid ourselves." So there is some stuff I find kinda goofy, but, for the most part, I like it. I'm really curious to see how, the sequel to this goes, and if we get another one after that, because that's what had me wondering. I was like, how many? 'Cause, like, once they announced the second series, like, okay, are they gonna, like, actually try to make a trilogy of comics that are a sequel to two movies from the 80s and 90s? I'd be very fascinated in just how far this goes. Because when I was reading 89, I was like, you don't have a story end like this without trying to tell some more stuff. But I didn't really know what format that was going to take. So when they announced the sequel series, I was like, "Oh, okay, I see." Yeah, they're always trying to keep stuff going. Like, sometimes I think it's really interesting to consider that if the Christopher Reeve Superman series hadn't have been so stymied by studio interference, we probably could have had, two trilogies of him. I mean, it's so fascinating how many series could have gone on conceivably a lot longer than they did if, people wanted it more, or were, there was, like, a consistent level of quality. Because when this stuff dips, it dips, and you can feel it and you can see it. Turn on Superman 1 and then Superman 4, and just be like, "Oh, this is the same series?" The quest for peace. The quest for cancellation, more like it. Mm. But yeah, every franchise seems to, like, be trying to see how much it can crank out before it burns itself to the ground. Like, look at Fast and Furious. I thought that was going to end after Paul Walker died, and, like, we're still getting more and more stuff, like, with that franchise, and it seems like it's not going anywhere anytime soon. No, they just they don't let anything end anymore. I remember when Super first came out, Um, and how like when we started getting the manga, I said this is starting to feel less like a shonen and more like a Marvel comic from Japan. Like just how there was no time passing, all this random stuff was happening each chapter, issue, whatever. It was coming out once a month. Like they really Americanized that series where now it's conceivably going to go on forever. Like it's just never going to stop or end. It'll just continue in perpetuity for the rest of I don't want to say eternity, but for a very long time. Like the super manga might have 300 chapters or 400 because Dragon Ball is still a profitable series even when it's not good. It still is able to generate some buzz just from the name alone. I said the same thing when I was talking about like with TASM 2. It was a financial disappointment for Sony, but it still made 700 million. It's like, yeah, the character of Spider-Man is just so iconic and popular and well liked that even a garbage movie will still make some money. That name recognition, man, it goes a long way. Man, that's the problem with these work weekends. You feel like you get maybe a few hours in the day to do something, and then you have to go and sit up at the job for the rest of it. I had some script I was writing earlier, or yesterday rather, and I started getting tired, so I kind of like laid down and went to sleep, and then I got up for this. So I guess after I'm finished, I'll probably give it another go or glance. Yeah, it's what I usually do when I'm writing something is I'll have an idea. Like I'll write out like a little maybe few sentences, paragraph that kind of has like an outline of how it's supposed to proceed. And then when I actually start writing it is where we start running into trouble. It's like, okay, this scene, right, and that scene. Because I felt like I was just delaying making this thing for so long that if I kept trying to, it's one of those things where like you don't want to rush something, but then you start to see like, oh, it's been a month since I tried to write this. It's been this many weeks, this much time. Wow, really? So yeah, that's usually what propels me forward. I try to make sure that if I don't see any progress on it, I'll do something to at least make it appear to me that it's moving forward. Mm. No, when the super manga announced its hiatus, I was rolling my eyes. So you guys just like you finished one new arc after going on hiatus, and now you're going on another one, and it's an indefinite one. We don't know if it's going to be 1 month, 2 months, three. They drive me crazy. This one person said that dude, this is a perfect place to end it. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Frieza's still out there, still ready to exact his revenge. I guess they're just going to pretend that we forgot that plot point. So I said it's really stupid. People just say whatever. They don't even care. It's like, oh yeah, this is such a great place to end this series. While one of the most, arguably the most important villain of the entire franchise is still around, ready to plot his revenge with a new power up. Like, yeah, totally a great place to end it. Let's not resolve that at all. I already said before, he won't go away. I don't even know what to say anymore. They're doing anything to keep this pretty more idea bankrupt IP going. So I guess I'll let them proceed. Oh man, I remember for the DCEU, they had an idea where it was supposed to be that after the Flash movie, Supergirl and the Keaton version of Batman were gonna like take the place of Cavill and Affleck in the DCEU. I remember so many people were upset over that. They're like, they're gonna replace Superman with Supergirl, and they're gonna bring in old man Batman. I just keep imagining that alternate universe where we got Man of Steel in 2013, then Man of Steel 2 in like 2015, and then a third one in like 2018, and then Justice League probably in 2019 or 2020. But they were in such a rush to catch up to Marvel. Like I said, I don't know why we couldn't just get stuff with the Trinity. I don't understand. For whatever reason, Superman has been cursed on the big screen for many years, years that predate me. So I'll just let DC continue to run that character into the ground. You had what was that Gunn talking about? Oh, the new Superman movie is gonna be called Superman Legacy, and he was like, oh no, it's gonna be called Superman. It's like, yay! Now we can be even more confused when we refer to this film. Very happy. And again, it's a minor criticism to complain about a title. I know that, but I just wish they were more distinct. Like they always want to give stuff basic names. Mm. No, I'm really tired of just all the reboots and restarts. One day I sat back and I was like, the DCU really had a version of Batman who, in spite of appearing in like what 4 movies, 5 movies, never even got his own movie, and then after the actors like forget this, they just start a whole new Batman universe. So I said three different Batmen in 10 years. And the crazy part is that's not even the first time that's happened. Which one of the reasons why I said for the Batman Part Two, it's like what they're gonna make that and then a third one and then start over again. I don't know how long that vampire is gonna play the character. I don't think it'll be that long. I guess this really is just the state of this Hollywood stuff, just starting over repeatedly. You saw the same thing with Terminator, where it's like, oh yeah, let's do two movies that everybody likes, and a third one that whatever, and then a supposed sequel to that doesn't really feel like a sequel because of how much time has passed, and then oh, we'll make a new uh a reboot. Yeah, and then oh, nobody likes it. Okay, we'll do a sequel to the second one that pisses everybody off. It's dark fate. All these franchises, man, they can't seem to get out of their own way. That's what before the most important thing is you know, like actually telling a good story. And when you don't do that, you kind of get what you get. You kind of deserve what you get, rather. I mean, that was one of the reasons why TASM 2 was so horrible, because it's like you're not trying to actually make a good movie. You want to make this movie that sets up three, four, five other films, and just that film is a good case study in how to not do a sequel ever. Like it's really really bad. Um, I mean, I just I still sometimes just will think about it like that. They really they tried and they failed. At least when TV shows do that, when they're like set, like if I do a show, right, for example, not everything is going to be set up in the first episode. You're going to have to like have episodes that introduce new concepts and then try to pay it off as it progresses. Um, but at least with that, it's like you have some guarantee that you're going to get at least a season, two seasons. When you don't know if you're getting a sequel or not, or even if you do, it's still like, I guess I'll put it this way. When a TV show has unresolved plot points from one season to the other, there's usually enough that's been said or done to still keep your interest and make you feel like your time wasn't wasted. When you do a movie where every minute has to count, you're given a lot less time to like spend on this stuff that may or may not pad out. Like I think that film could have been so much better if they just focused on the relationship between the protagonist and the girlfriend, and then not had three villains, right? Just one villain, and then maybe introduced Harry, but not as like some crazy person trying to get some blood. It would like it's just sad to me how so much of that could have worked if they didn't have all these stupid subplots. As I said before, I'm not some genius writer. I can't just click my heels and make a good story, but damn, it's like if I'm doing a movie, I know you need to like actually focus on something. Like I said, TV shows can get away with you know, 15 different plots a season, and even they have trouble with that too, depending on how long the season is, and how long the episodes are. But when you're talking about a movie, you can do maybe two or like two main plots, and then like a subplot or two subplots if you're lucky. I remember back in the day watching the reviews, they were like, Batman Returns has too many characters. I'm like, how? It's like five or six. Anyone who said that movie had too many characters never saw TASM 2, which it's not even the amount of characters, it's the amount of plots. Like there's just too many different story elements that are introduced or are being created, and there's not enough time to focus on any of them. Yeah, these film series, man, they don't seem to really have any true desire to, just make a good story. Like just make one good movie, and if you get another one, you can, try something else. Um, they throw all types of stuff just trying to see what can stick, and by the time they're finished throwing, they have nothing left but the hope of getting a sequel, and then that what doesn't work out, the whole movie gets rendered pointless. Like, imagine how much worse Iron Man 2 would be if there was just no Avengers, like, if the whole MCU got canceled after that movie. It's just like, you'd be like, what am I watching? What's the point? It's funny too, because there already is stuff like that in I don't even like calling it the Iron Man trilogy, but that's what it is. Like the Ten Rings and Mandarin never even show up. Like the real Mandarin never even appears, so it's all just rendered pointless. That particular plot anyway. God, that phone just is so loud. I still can't get over Dio. Like he literally showed up to write a few comments and then just vanish. What an outrage! I don't think I can ever forgive him. I think that I might end up having to just completely ignore him anytime he reappears. That is a thing that people like to do on here though, where they'll have like they'll have you won't see them for like a year or even longer, and then they'll just reappear and they'll write something and then vanish again. Oh man. That's one of the things they like. They one of their favorite hobbies to appear and then disappear. It's like, now you see me, now you don't. That's whatever. Right? I'm not getting mad at anybody over that. I just find it interesting how everybody can always say they like a channel and then just never actually show up and watch the channel. Everything is just so contradictory in that way. That's why I said I can't remember the last time I subscribed to a new channel. Like, I'm not joking when I say it might have actually been several years since I've seen a new channel and just subscribed to it. Because a lot of people I've watched are people I've seen before. They've been around, even longer than I have, or it's like there's really no discovery. And even when I discover new people, I'm very reluctant to subscribe because, like I said, I have enough people I'm subscribed to. It has to be someone that really stands out to me, which a lot of newer creators haven't really been able to do. Mm. I don't know. It just really depends on if I even want to, support them in that way. 'Cause I'm not against, like, clicking the button for someone if I really believe in their stuff. It's just that it's harder to get invested in it if you know that you're not going to actually watch the person. Because I don't lie to myself about how interested I am in someone's content. I have to really believe that they're making a thing that I know I'm going to keep coming back to, or else I just won't even bother. I don't know. That's just me. However, this one person I subscribe to, uh, and we had our falling out, and like she literally just stopped making videos after that. Like I was like, okay, so you went to the purpose of making a whole new channel, or rather making all this new stuff, probably like 2, 3 new videos just to like not do anything else for 2 years. Like, all right, that's it, whatever. Just weird, man. I mean, she's another one where it's like, thank God I didn't spend more time with her than I already did, because I don't know what kind of crazy stuff she was gonna try to, ensnare me into. And I already said that I still think that was her that made that new account and subscribed to me, and then like publicly, so I'd get a notification and unsubscribe. It's like, yeah, regular people don't do that where they just subscribe to someone and make sure the person gets notification of it, and then unsubscribe after they see the person like respond to them somewhere. It was weird, man. I so far there's even the people I don't watch anymore. There's very few instances where I'll actually take the time to unsubscribe because I kind of just view it as pointless. Like they don't really hinder my ability to subscribe to more people, or to I don't have to watch them if I'm subscribed to them. So it's just whatever. Like you have to take the extra step to even click the button to get off of them or get them out of there or whatever. I don't like you anymore. I'm unsubbing. My favorite thing is when people come when they announce it and it's like it's someone you've never even seen before. They'll say that. I'm done with you. Okay. You'll never see me again. I never saw you to begin with. Man, they like I don't know what the logic of that is. Like, like I said before, I would just go. I would just leave. Only time you'll see me make like a announcement of what I'm going to do is if it's somebody in real life that's upsetting me, like with that goofy woman. But besides that, you wouldn't see me just. I mean, I've had people where if I don't want to talk to me anymore, like, hey, look, I don't think this is gonna work out. Or I'll like directly say to them, can you not do this? Can you do more of this? Da, da, da. But as far as like going to someone's channel and announcing that this is the last time you'll ever see me leave a comment, I'm making my final appearance. I can't get into that. That's just a little too weird for my taste. I don't know. I guess I feel like with most people, if they don't want to watch somebody anymore, they'll just stop watching them. They just won't write anything. So to like actually go and declare you're done with somebody that you don't even have a relationship with. It's just someone you watch stuff of online. I think is unnecessary. But people do a lot of things that I don't quite understand. Oh yeah, I remember there was a they're selling the Marvels for $10. I think there was another instance where they were selling it and it was like, was it $5? That's usually the lowest price they drop movies to on there. But like I said, they could drop it down to 5 cents and I still wouldn't buy it. To hell with them and that stupid film. People want you to just get this stuff and like it's not even good. That's the part that gets me. They're like, "Oh, look at this great deal." It's like, yeah, but the film is not great. Seriously, if there's a movie that I don't like, They could drop it down to $2 and I still wouldn't get it. Said you can have it. Mm. But no, going back to what I was saying, I've never felt myself as being important enough to where, me announcing I'm not watching this person anymore is like a big deal to where I have to like go to their stuff and tell them that they can get lost or that I'm finished with them. That's always been my biggest departure from some of these other people. I don't know. It's just I can't see where that's of any benefit to anyone. Like when somebody really doesn't want to do something, they just don't do it. Man, I'm just imagining. I hope we actually do get off at the time they say or earlier than that because I really don't want to be there until 2 or 3 in the morning. But it's hard to say if they're going to be serious about getting us out of there. No, I've had so many instances over there where it's like 2:50, 2:30, and I'm just, can we go? But they have, to their credit, been faster because they started getting complaints from the corporate office who were like, "Hey, all this overtime you have us paying, turn that off." So most likely they're gonna probably not keep us there that long. That's my prediction because the way the last month has gone, they've really been cutting the amount of time that we're there. I always said before, they go slow on purpose. They try to squeeze out some more coins from their shifts, which for me is like whatever. I wouldn't even care if it weren't for the fact that they try to keep you there with them all night long, forever and ever. So some of these shifts are so long, I feel like I'm still there. Yeah, last which oh yeah, it was that Saturday where I had the shift with that person. Where it was the way it went is that I was asked by this person if I could cover for them on Saturday, and I was like, I don't want to work on Saturday, man. But then because they cut the hours, I was like, oh, I need to get an extra day. So then I contact that person, said, yeah, I can do it. And they're like, oh, I already gave it to this other person. And I saw who the other person was, and I was like, and then decided to pick up one of the somebody else that had called out. So we were around each other for 8 hours without saying anything to each other, which was like the funniest thing to me. Just the most awkward stuff, man. Like when you have a place where there's only maybe 7, 8, 9 people there, some handful of people there for probably excuse me, probably 4 to 5 hours. You can like feel and notice who's talking to who and who isn't talking to who, and I had like the biggest cold shoulder from that person. I was like, you don't even work on Saturday. What is this? I said these people just they're full of surprises. Do I want any of that stupid coffee this morning? I don't know. Hmm. Starbucks, Starbucks. Do I want you? Do I want you? I'm debating. I know this is pretty close to when they would open up, but I'm not entirely sure. If I did get it, it would be one of those things where you get it and then you go to sleep right after that, and you wake up and you have a stomach ache. I usually never get the coffee just by itself. I tend to get they have like a little piece of bread, or they call it a lemon loaf. I do like the way it tastes, but I don't know. I just their stuff is. I could go without it. Mm. Yeah, I'm just kind of disappointed by the way these people act. If I end up making this video, I've written a little bit of the script, but I'm still not entirely sure if I want to do it or not. I'm going to mention that part of what makes some of this stuff as frustrating as it is that idea of closeness, right? Like, it's one thing to have people who don't talk to you, who walk past you, say nothing, who ignore you. But when you have a person that you spoke to, there seemed to be a mutual liking on the part of both you and the person, and you decide, hey, maybe this can go beyond just sitting here at this place clocked in and only speaking at that point. And maybe we can actually truly do things together as people that actually want to become friends. And when that person agrees to do that, they create an expectation in your mind that, hey, this might actually, go somewhere. And then when they, you know, pull the plug abruptly, at the last second, I think you have a right to be upset over that. Still can't get over the logic of being mad at me for being mad at you for messing up what we were supposed to do together. But somebody will always be able to make that make sense if it's a woman that does it. So I guess I should just not even like bother being surprised. This is just what they do. It's still really sad though that we just as people we have like such a low um level of morale. Like I mentioned before, if I did that to somebody, I would feel bad. I would be apologizing profusely. I'd be trying to set it up another day. Hey, if you give me another chance, I won't let this happen again. But they don't care. Oh man, trying to make stuff happen with these people is like looking for a needle in a haystack. I tell you, they will always find a way to disappoint you or let you down. That's one of the main reasons that I normally have nothing to do with them. Just too much disappointment, and it's like over dumb stuff too. Seriously, you just can't trust anything with these people. Like all they do is lie, pretend to want to, do stuff with you, and then just pull the rug from under you. Which drives me nuts because it's like, why? We talk about like the payoffs, but what is the purpose of giving someone your number and ask them about themselves and revealing things about you and just doing all that stuff and then it doesn't go anywhere. Like I don't get it. So I said it's just bizarre, man. That's why I said you can't win with these bastards. Let me see what does it look like out there. Oh, sun is still not up. I'll wait a little bit longer and then I'll probably make that journey. Run my very, very early morning errands. I don't know. I try hard to not be part of the mundane existence. Like I very much try to, if I talk to somebody, get to know them, um, have the various goals that I do. Even if I'm not always successful with them, I still make an attempt, an effort. But with some of these people, like I was always so fascinated by how, you work your little shift from that's like 4 to 7 hours max. And then when you're on your break, you're just staring at your phone, whatever little garbage is on social media. Then when your shift is over, you run to your car and drive off to probably sit at home again, staring at your phone. I don't know. It's just sad to me that like you actually want like I guess I'll put it this way: when you as a person want to do things beyond just working somewhere and getting your little money and whatever, it's just it's sad to be surrounded by individuals who just don't have anywhere near the same values or like actual goals. They just go through the motions. Nothing matters to them and no one matters to them. That's why you can be so easily betrayed by one of them. That's why they can switch from supposedly being so interested in getting to know you to putting a knife right through you the exact next day. Like I think people should have standards. And I'm not even like I'm talking specifically about just the way that they act. Like there is a true lack of moral decency that has infested not even just the American person, but just like through social media, um, and all these different devices and whatnot, people have really allowed themselves to just not even act like anything resembling human beings. Like you would never see me uh try to like sit by somebody that I apparently like, and then the whole time I'm sitting next to him just staring at my phone. Who does that? I mentioned before that I've had my friend come over my place and the whole time I'm speaking to him, I don't even use my phone other than maybe to show him something on there. I'll just have it on the charger. Because, like, once that person that's there that you actually want to see is there, you become I don't not necessarily completely enraptured with them, but they're your main focus. They're the attraction. You're there to see them. I just think it's weird. Like whatever's on that device can wait until after I'm finished speaking or being around whoever I'm with. At least that's how it is for me. I don't know about these people. see what time do they open. Damn, they really some of them open at 4 in the morning? Oh my god. Well, if I go there now, I can probably beat the traffic. I'm not kidding. I've seen Starbucks on Saturday is like the worst place to go to. I've seen lines that just pile up and it all except for what drives me nuts about that, because I get it, people like some, they want to get it, whatever, but it's like they have so many of them, four, five, six of them that were within probably a 10-mile radius, and they're always busy during the weekends, especially. Like it's crazy. So I'm trying to avoid having to deal with that problem. These places always having like 900 people stacked up trying to get their morning crap. Oh, I'll probably I might not even go there directly. I'll probably go and try to get some gas first because I'm running a little low because I have this person that tries to get me to run errands that are 30 miles a pop, and of course they don't give you 1 cent compensation because of course not. I guess I'll leave with the parting words that I never knew until 2 years ago, um, that you can live with people. You can have people you see every day, whether it's a coworker or some other person that you're friendly with, and yet you can still be completely alone. You can have people that are around you for 3 to 6 to 9 hours straight, and they won't say one word to you. Maybe they say something like hi, but like, hey, how are you? Just at most you'll be able to hint or allude to the fact that you're not doing well, and then they'll just kind of like keep walking, whatever, because it's more of a general formality than actually trying to see how you're doing. They don't really care. Um, and I think, like I get called negative, but in all seriousness, I think it's beneficial for a person to know that even if someone isn't their enemy, like someone that, is like actively trying to screw them up, ruin them, whatever, they're also not their friend. Like most of these online people that write stupid stuff, they're not they come around, they write something dumb, and they go away. They're not my enemy, but they're not friendly towards me. They don't actually care about me. Um, Same thing with a lot of the ones I work with, all the smiles, all the I mean, like that's why I said the stuff with that one in particular just really for the last 2 months has been driving me nuts because it was that same thing, the fake interest, the appearance of maybe if you actually try getting to know this person, you might just be a step away from that put default position of only doing things alone, but it was just another cruel joke because even if you do everything right, the other person can still botch it, destroy it, mess it up, ruin it. Um, and of course, there's sycophants and people who've never even met them are going to find ways to defend their really inexcusable, pathetic, sorry behavior because that's just how antagonistic people are. And again, they're not doing that as your enemy. They're not your friend. They're not writing this because they want to see you succeed or because out of some like actual concern for your state of being. They don't give a damn. See, I remind myself that whether someone smiles at me, whether they hug me, whether they you know are around me, it's not real. It's all just a work. Like literally wrestling is more real than the relationships I have with 90 something percent of the people that I'm forced to see recurringly. There's so many people where it's like they'll work with you at one of these places and say hello. And even if you are like, oh, I've been better, this isn't that good, they won't ask why. And even the ones that ask why, all you have to do is say, I'll tell you later, or, something to that effect, and they'll just keep moving because they don't care. It's again, all of this is just an illusion. The idea that anyone out of these current people gives a hoot about me is something I just don't see any evidence to support believing in. And again, I think when you're not as easily tricked by them, they get kind of upset if you're like open about this, as I was with her. But in general, I just can't fall for this stuff anymore. So thanks for showing up, Dio. Uh, I'll try to stream again on Monday. I don't think I work on Monday. Yeah, I don't. So I'll uh I'll see you again. Well, I don't know if you're gonna show up again. You might not. You guys do your once a year appearances. But yeah, I'll stream again on either Monday or some other day of next week. So thanks for popping up and have a good weekend because it doesn't look like I will.